Severe weather for the Northeast and flash flooding specifically for New York City to New Jersey. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Pew. Today is September 6, 2025. So starting with severe weather, we have a slight risk or a 2 out of 5 from Maine all the way to Pennsylvania near the Philadelphia area. And what that entails is we have a 5% chance to see an isolated tornado too, specifically from Massachusetts to Maine, but we also have a 2% risk from Philadelphia to Maine. And in that same area, we have a 15% chance to see winds greater than 60 miles per hour and a 5% chance going all the way down to Georgia. And in addition to that, we also have a 5% chance to see isolated hail. Okay, so time frames, it looks like things are going to start upstate around 1 p.m. Eastern time, and as it travels eastward, it's going to reach the coastline around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern time. Now, in terms of flash flooding, the Weather Prediction Center issued a slight risk, specifically for New York City to New Jersey. The models are kind of all over the place on where most of the rain is going to occur, but definitely in these risk areas today, some places may see up to 3 inches or greater. Though a lot of these locations are either urban or large cities, which have a harder time handling large precipitation. So I would wager if you live in any of these locations, it poses a higher risk for flash flooding. And this is all happening because if we look at 500 millibars or midway to the troposphere, we have that really large trough that we've been talking about pretty much feels like all week. And it's directing that cold air from the north to the northeast. Now, the greatest amount of shear is going to be north and towards Canada, but in the northeast, we still have about 50 to 55 knots, which is pretty decent for shear, which is going to tilt the updrafts and prolong those storms. Now, if we go down to the surface, we have that really strong cold front that's bringing a lot of that cool air to a very warm and moist environment. It's anticipated that temperatures in the East Coast are going to be up to the 90s and also dew points in the 70s. And if we look at satellite imagery, we do have some breaks in the clouds that's going to bring in more diurnal heating, more surface heating, and bring in more instability. Another thing I want to point out is this cold front and the low pressure in the northeast is headed beyond the apps. And with that, we're going to have winds coming from the west and going downslope from the mountains. So we're going to have orographic descent. So with that sinking air, we're going to have drier air. But because it's going into an extremely moist environment, that's going to also help with the lift. Because on the other hand, if we look at the Atlantic, we have a high pressure that's bringing in more southerly winds into the East Coast. And that's going to help transport that warm tropical air inland. And that's going to help reinforce the dry line, but also that cold front. And going above the surface just a little bit at 850 millibars, we have a really strong low-level jet, specifically from New York City to Maine. And this low-level jet is going to do two things. One, it's going to transport even more of that moisture over, but two, it's going to help with the low-level updrafts, which is going to help with the tornadic activity that we're going to see. A quick update in the tropics, starting with the Atlantic, we have that tropical disturbance that we've been talking about the past few days that we've been concerned about. It has decreased the chance of formation to a 30% chance in the next 48 hours, which is a good sign. And in the Pacific, we also have some good news. We have Hurricane Kiko and it's headed towards Hawaii, but it's drifting more north. Kiko did ramp up to a Category 4 once again at 140 miles per hour sustained winds, but it's still anticipated that Kiko will weaken as it gets close to Hawaii, as the sea surface temperatures over there are a little bit more cooler. And Kiko's projected path is trending more north because we have a low pressure north of Hawaii that's going to be traveling southward, and that's counterclockwise flow, and it's going to be drifting it just a little bit. And that's why we have